As I stated in part 1, I really had no idea who DakariKingMyakn was. I knew, of course, that he was a huge fan of Teen Titans and that he was, completely distressed about the whole Things Change episode. It wouldn't be until I talked to another user who I had actually been, we'd kind of went at each other when I was still with Mykan's group, but now he's actually a great friend and a very reliable resource. And he helped me to understand some things I had not known about Mykan. The first, of course, was what he did before even Things Change happened. Now, his username, DakariKingMyakn, is of course a weird name to me because I had no idea what it meant. Apparently, it goes back to the anime TV show Digimon back in, I believe, the 90s, early 2000s. Really wasn't a big fan of the show. But there was two characters. One name was Davis. The other, I believe, was Kari. And they were, apparently the ship where you ship two characters for. And Mykan was deeply involved in that. And he actually wrote fan fictions for it. Apparently, the other users who were a big fan of this shipping, just as, the Beast Boy Terra shipping today, how he has those fans, were a fan of his Dakari grouping. So they actually pronounced him as their king, as it states. The opposing group, of course, was the Takaris, which is the belief, I believe another character whose name was TJ, and they had him ship with Kari. And of course, with any TV show, you're going to have separate groups who are going to ship one couple with another, and that's just something that's going to happen. But of course, these two groups argued, and Mykan didn't approve of this group. So one of the strategies he did was he flamed all their accounts and attempted to get them all banned. In doing so, he actually got himself banned on several occasions. Apparently, they signed or had a truce with each other, and that in turn ended that so-called flame war. But there's really no guarantee of that ending. The next thing, which was very huge and till this day is still very controversial, was the apparent rape comment he had made to a user who was a young girl. Now, apparently within the group, I and fellow others had heard that Mykan had possibly stated something of a rape comment. We believed on one side that, well, maybe it's just the trolls who are making this up to make Mykan look like a bad guy. And on the other side of us, we're like, well, maybe we should ask Mykan about this. But the weirdest thing was, is we were kind of even scared to ask him if he said this or anything. He just basically came out early, and when this came out, he said, no, it's just the trolls, don't worry about it, just keep doing what you're doing, you're doing great, keep fighting them. But it felt kind of fishy. And he got really mad when, it was brought up. So, of course, it wasn't a famous topic to talk about within the group. And after leaving, I found out, yes, he did state this. And apparently he had even stated that I supported this idea, in which I in no way support this claim. And I do not support him for making this statement. This is a very sick statement that should never be stated. And it should not even be cursed upon anybody in the world. And I understand Mykan is a deeply emotional person about his things, but never should it have gone that far to make a statement about such a deplorable topic. And, it's just horrible. What else I would find out about Mykan was there was another user who will be named Anonymous, again, of course. And this user, as of course, was a big-time follower of Mykan. I didn't know this user, but apparently this was a big-time fan. And Mykan had made promises to this user about, being in, they're doing certain things together. maybe be involved in a video or something. Who's going to include this user in some videos and stuff like that. Now, this user had decided just to move on from Teen Titans, and they didn't want really anything to do with it anymore. Mykan would not have that, and begged this user to stay, but this user was ready to go, just to move on. At this time, this user also knew other things about Mykan, and revealed them through a video. Now, Mykan did not approve of that, and sent his own followers to go on and attack the video. This video would be flagged and flamed by so many users that this user had to take the video down. The user felt so bad still for doing this too, that they created an apology video, which Mykan did not accept as an apology. Which is, it's not a good thing. When somebody apologizes to you, even though they were in the right, you should accept the apology. What Mykan did was heartless, it was cruel, and it was completely insensitive. Now, one of the major things that he's doing right now, and it's funny because, as I mentioned before, that I'm a fan of My Little Pony series, is that he has created his own creation, and he's calling it Starfleet Magic is Believing, which he's copying from a 70s TV puppet show in Power Rangers. But basically, the reason why he's created this is he said he cannot stand the idea of friendship is magic, as he claims that those who watch the show are just like him, without friends and cannot make friends in real life, which is completely and utter BS. People in the world are not exactly like Mykan. None of them are. And the problem with Mykan is that he lives in a world of darkness. And by saying that, I mean he doesn't want to change. If you ask him to change, he does not want to do it. And it's very unhealthy. He states he's not living unhealthy, but when you listen to him make these statements like, oh, I couldn't sleep for weeks after things changed, or I was in so much pain after watching this, or it's not healthy. Can it really be stated that he feels this way? I don't know. Maybe it's just another thing he has is a huge ego. And for sure that can be seen at anime conventions that he attends. So maybe some of these stories he might just be making up. I don't know. But if it's not, then there's clearly something wrong if you are being tortured by something that's, first off, animated. I understand that certain animations can give you feelings, I guess, or something, but not to where it rules your life. He's living very unhealthy, just like Christian and Weston Chandler was. Mykan, thankfully, is not that far from what we've seen. We've seen Christian Chandler do some very much worse. Much worse. But if Mykan continues down the road he's going, it could be that bad. The bad thing is, he believes what he's doing is harming nobody else but him. But he attacks those who criticize his work. Criticism is something that's not bad or terrible. And it took me a while to understand this. But I finally, thank goodness, figured it out. Is you need criticism. If you want to become better, you need it. That's the problem with Mykan, is he believes he's already so great that he doesn't need anything else. I've spoken to him about that. He believes he's already perfect. He doesn't want to put anything into anything. Thus, he's not earning anything. But those are some of the things that I learned about Mykan. Truly, I wish I would have known a lot more. And a lot of the things I had to go through, it serves me right. Because I was supporting somebody I had no idea lived this way. Once more, for whatever he might have stated I supported with him, I had no support. I do not support anything he does. That should conclude part 2. In the next video, I will call out Mykan one last time to see if he will change. If he chooses not to, he chooses not to. If he does, well, then he does.